What's up, guys, and welcome to the weekly watch list video for the week of September 9th. Let's take a look at the markets here. So if we're just looking at SPY here, you can kind of see we had this downtrend lower. We had like a V-shaped recovery, and then essentially we had this chop and then broke down from there. So what we can do is to kind of map out what might it look like going forward is we can put in our fibs, and you can see here we kind of consolidated below this high and then essentially had this break below support, rejecting the 21 EMA, two closes underneath, and then got a flush. Now, not only that, but to kind of back up the whole thing, we had sell signals printing on Thursday, Friday, and then had a huge sell off after. So trading around 550 all the way down about $10 move on SPY. So about 2.5% or so, 2%. So that's what we're kind of seeing here. So now what we're looking at is, okay, what's up next? So if we simply just look at what happened, so you can kind of see here, if we go to 15-minute, it might be a little more clear. So we go to 15-minute, add some time on here, and we look at, okay, so here's kind of what happens. You get, we had this move down, and then from there, we got uh, this bottom chopped around. Then we got some buy signals pop, 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 and then we get the buy signals and then they stopped working. And that's because you should have recognized well before that we entered into this range. We were just chopping around like at this resistance of 564 and then at support around 555. And so we chopped around, we chopped around, we chopped around. And then essentially what happened from there was once we got this chop, the next thing we kind of wanted to see was we got that break below the range support. So here was the range. We take this off, take the left extension off, and you can see we broke this range. We were trading in chop. And so here you're kind of just sitting it on your hands. You're selling at resistance and buying at support and kind of just waiting until essentially we break out of this range and then we enter a trending environment and then you can go back to trading the trend. So we got that break, and then really there we got some 5-minute sell signals, broke below, another 5-minute sell signal, 5-minute sell signals, chopped around, 5-minute sell signals, and kind of that's what it looked like. And that's kind of the environment we were in. And then we had sell signals on the 15-minute, we had sell signals on the hourly or the 30-minute. And so that's what it looks like when we break out of a trend. You follow those sell signals, and you can see here the 21 EMA on the 30-minute time frame has been a pretty solid resistance level. So we want to keep an eye out for that. So now we have came down, and now we're in between these two levels. We've got 544 and 538, 7.5. And so now what we're looking at is, okay, what's the next pullback going to look like? Assuming what we usually get is a few legs. So meaning I'm looking for, you can see here, we drop to the 15-minute. We add some time back on. And then you can see here, you get the buy signals pop, buy signals pop, buy signals pop. And then essentially what you do from there is we kind of, once it stops working here, that's when you kind of know that the trend is starting to shift and we're starting to enter into some chop. And then from there, what you do is we look for essentially this. We're just looking for it on the downside. So you can see here, we had the sell signals drop, sell signals drop, sell signals drop. And so now what we're looking for is, okay, can we get more sell signals? We got 15-minute squeeze into the close. Maybe we get a dead cat bounce, but right now we're making lower highs and lower lows. So right now we only want we're only going to be looking for sell signals until they stop working and we enter back into a range. And we use these support and resistance levels as a way to gauge that. So right now we can take a look at ES. Let's see what ES is doing. And it's the same story, right? You avoid all of this chop, these crappy conditions of trading. You avoid all this. And then once you get into a trending environment, you catch the sell signals to the downside and you trade them to the downside. Right now, we're still maintaining that downtrend. So if we get sell signals on maybe like the 30-minute for ES, then we'll look for an entry, kind of like here. There were sell signals here, and then we got this drop. So that's all we have to do, right? That's what we're looking for here. And the same thing goes for NQ. Like it's no different. It's the same thing. You can see we were in a downtrending environment. We zoom out, add some time here. So we were in this range, right? So look, sell signal, sell signal, sell signal. We enter a range. Okay, then there's probably lower time frame sell signals here. Then we get sell signals, we get this last drop, and then now we're back in a range. Once we break that range, that's when you start looking for, okay, now we can start looking for sell signals. We're out of the range. Cool. And then here we're back in a range. And honestly, I'd ignore all this crap. I would ignore all of this. And then once we broke the range, we're back into a trending environment. You take the buy signals, you take the buy signals, you take the buy signals until they stop working. And then we started to enter into a choppy kind of downtrend. So, I mean, some you could see here we had a sell signal and it worked out. Here a sell signal worked. And then, but you're not playing buys because we're in a downtrend, right? And then we enter into a downtrend. This one didn't work. But then these worked, and then so on and so forth. So now what we're doing is we're going to continue to look to play sell signals until we either enter chop or we enter into an uptrend. And so we do that until it stops working. And then from there, that's the game plan this week. Okay. And then as for other stuff, like if we're looking for other things, we can go. So first, probably the major thing is we can look for relative strength. First, let's take a look at the dashboard. So the dashboard here, completely dry. There's nothing to really pay attention to. What sectors have relative strength? Real estate, consumer staples, and bonds. Bonds had a beautiful trade earlier this week. We had a buy signal here. We had this nice pop up into a new high. So we can certainly continue to look for this to continue higher. We may just want to look for another buy signal and potentially play a swing to the upside. Kind of similar here. We got a buy signal and then a huge pop. Buy signals here, huge pop. But the key is we're looking for things that are in a trending environment. Bonds may be entering into that. And then other than that, we don't have any signals across the board. We've got some sell signals on TAN, which is solar. So this one has kind of been downtrending, being a little choppy as of recently, but we've gotten some sell signals here. So we might head back to the low based on the weekly chart. CL, this has weekly time frame sell signals. Now, this may work, but here's the thing. We're in chop. So do I want to take trending signals in a choppy environment? No, not really. So I'm going to kind of lean against it. This could break and be a great trade, or it could be a dud like here because we're in chop. So we have to pay attention for that. And then, so that's kind of the board. Now we can kind of dive through some of these relative strength names. So this one, IoT, don't know too much about the company, but it's popped up on the scanner. We had earnings and it looks like it was a positive reaction. So we can look for a continuation in this name. For me personally, I'd probably be playing this weekly time frame because it does seem to have a cleaner trend of higher highs and higher lows. So this one could have a breakout. It is at all-time highs. So we can run some extensions here. So we still have room to get up to that 1272 and then potentially the 1618. And then maybe we take this IPO high and the low And yeah, this is a pretty heavy resistance right here. This is the 618 and the 1272. So any lower time frames, we can look to play maybe a 15-minute buy signal into this resistance up here. Aflac, this name looks so here's an example, right? So we have buy signals they work, 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 but then we sell off and aren't looking like a trending environment anymore, right? And now we've entered into this chop. Okay. So now what we have to be aware of is this may be the end of this move. We may see a pullback to the 21 EMA. What we have to look for is when we stop making those higher highs and higher lows. Like you can see here, we made a higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high, and then we pulled back, made a higher low, got buy signals, and this was a good trend to enter into. Now we can look through and see, okay, so BBY, I don't see too much to do with this thing. It looks like it's going to trade sideways for a little while. Kava, this is a great looking name. I think we should keep this on our watch list for sure. It does look like it's in some chop, but if we can get a breakout or a buy signal here, I think that this could be a name to play to the upside, especially playing off that earnings momentum. It obviously had a positive earnings reaction. eBay, this one's taken forever to break out. It's a pretty choppy name, but I do know we have a pretty nice setup on the 4 hour. So we have buy signals on the 4 hour time frame. So this one is pretty interesting because I think that we're flagging for a potential move higher. If the market continues to fall apart, this seems to be holding up and doing its own thing. So we may want to keep an eye on this one because it's holding up and looking pretty strong. Right now, we've got some 2 hour signals. We're in the buy zone, but we definitely are in some chop. So maybe you want to sell some put credit spreads at around $58 rather than buying outright calls. Nothing to do with FDX, nothing to do with that. I don't know what that is. And here's the relative strength name in the sectors, the real estate. So we've got a score of 6 right now, strong ADX above the trailing stop. And you can see the buy signals here. They had a great move up. Buy signals here had a great move up. So maybe we look for the next time we get some buy signals here. We're forming a 4 hour squeeze. So there's potential that we could look for a new buy signal and play this one to the upside. We're at resistance here of $100. I don't like that we made a high and then rejected here, but that's okay. We're still holding a pretty steady trend. MDT, SPGI, Tyson Food, super random. Had a nice daily squeeze and had to move up. Looks good. Okay, so that's all I'm really seeing here. So let's see. So then moving from there, let's go to daily squeeze. See if we can see anything here. Give it a second. It always says that. It's just got to load up. Yep. Okay. So see if there's anything here that sell signals, sell signals. Yeah, none of these. The only one that looks pretty good is Costco, but they've got earnings coming up. The rest of these look like sells. I mean, CVX, clear sell signals. Definitely looks good for downside. EL, I believe this is, I don't know what this is. Yeah, not really too much showing up here. Just a lot of sell signals. So, yeah, so honestly, I'm not seeing too much coming up on the scans. So I guess what that means for me is main focus on the indexes, wait for something to show up on the scans, and then essentially focus on those relative strength names. So I hope this helps. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know if you have questions, and I'll see you for the markets.